Today we're looking at the ECOMOBL M20. You can see it back there by the tree. We're going to be riding around Sydney Olympic Park. It's been really hot today, just under 100 degrees Fahrenheit. A little bit about the board. All suspension is CNC milled from aero grade aluminium. It's rocking a 12S 4P battery configuration with Samsung 50E cells, so it should have quite good range. It's got the dual 63mm 2000 watt motors driving that planetary geared system. So it has extremely good torque, good power, very smooth. This one still is running the Lingy ESC. It's the 6.5, so it's a lot smoother than its older models, its predecessor. I don't know how to say that word. It's a lot better than it used to be. I'm still not the biggest fan, but the benefits are slowly starting to outweigh the negatives. With the adjustable braking, you can turn the lights on and off from the remote control. The good power. It's still not as good, I think, as the latest Hobbywing or obviously a Vesk based. So we're going to go for a ride around at Sydney Olympic Park. We'll try to find some grass, find a few hills, talk about how this compares to the ET, because this is the next in its lineup. So you've got the ET, then you've got the M20, then you've got the M24. We'll see exactly how this is different and is it worth that extra, about 400 bucks I think at the moment it's on sale. So let's get to the board and let's go. Alright guys, well it has been a couple of days since I filmed that intro at Sydney Olympic Park, and unfortunately two things went wrong. First one, a massive thunderstorm came, but also, and probably more importantly, I actually forgot to pack my helmet, so we couldn't film. So we're out here this morning at Narrabeen Lake. It's a really beautiful spot, and the big bonus with this is that it's a lot of off-road, dirt, grass, gravel, that sort of thing. There's very little actual paved pathing on this track. So I'll show you a map on the screen now. This is a lake, I think it's about a 9-kilometer circuit. Don't quote me on that, I could be wrong. We're gonna go for a ride today. We're gonna test out the M20. It's gonna be a lot of off-road. We'll talk about the board as we go. We'll talk about how it's performing, talk about its power, aesthetics, how it feels, tell you if I'm getting really sore legs and whatnot. It's got lots of really good suspension in there. It's all CNC milled as I mentioned. It's fully charged, built-in lights. Let's go. So we've been going for about a kilometre now, and I can say it is a lot of fun to ride. There's been a lot of bumps like this, and the suspension just handles it really nicely. Like you can feel the suspension working, you can feel the coils going up and down and pumping, you can feel the springs definitely doing their thing, which is awesome. It's definitely as loud as the ET, so even though motors look different, I know they have different bearings in them, it still has the same mechanical sound to it, which you get used to, but it is definitely a sound you need to be aware of. It's not whisper quiet like hubs or even some of the belt drives these days. But it is kind of cool. It's like a tank. It makes this awesome sound. Morning. Alright, so now let's talk about the M20 versus the ET. Because the other two boards that I've ridden and reviewed and tested so far, and they're very, very different. They're very similar motors. They both have the 63mm brushless planetary gearing. But the M20 is more of your off-road beast. Obviously it has the suspension, has the independent suspension, the springs. Good morning. It has no drop down. The ET is more of your street carver. it's still going to go good on this sort of stuff, but the M20 is just excelling in the off-road stuff. So the bumps, the roots, the big stones, it's really eating it up. Now I will say I don't feel as comfortable going full speed on the M20 as I do on the ET, but then again the ET has quite a traditional truck system, very, very wide, and once you've tightened it up, this one here being the springs, I think I'll probably put some harder springs in, but until I do, it's a little bit soft, a little bit wobbly once I get over about 40 kilometers per hour. Go on in. Hey puppy. It gets a little bit wobbly over 40, but I know I can wind down those springs, make them stiffer, and I know I can get some different springs as well, which will also make it stiffer. Good morning. So that's what I'll do to this to get it a little bit more stable for my weight, being 101 kilos, so about 225 pounds. But this thing gets along, like we're still on 26, 27 kilometers per hour. I don't have any binding, it's my first time riding it, and it's going really nicely. Come on guys. I'm just saying good morning to everybody because I'm so loud. Good morning. Just trying to be nice to everyone because it's super loud. I don't want to piss anyone off. Alright, now it's time for the flex test. So now you can see those springs and that suspension, that wishbone suspension, doing its thing. That's what gives you all that shock absorption. I'll show you from the front. That's what gives you all the shock absorption when you're going over all these bumps. I don't think any other board, sorry, let me say that again. I was about to say massive lie. I don't think any other board that I've ridden or reviewed would make it safely on these paths without vibrating off a wheel or losing something. But this delivers so much shock absorption, the board itself's hardly even shaking. It's quite amazing. Morning. Alright, so this board is a lot of fun. A lot of fun. And I will definitely say I would prefer this over the ET purely for its off-road capabilities. It's so smooth and forgiving on all the cracks and bumps. The ET is definitely like a street board or a street carver. This thing is designed just to go over grass and bumps and weeds and everything else that sort of comes in its way. Now I can imagine the M20 even better, even stronger. But this thing for 1,300 bucks on sale or 1,399, whatever the price is right now, this is crazy good value. Brings us to the end of the first ride on the ECOMOBL M20. You can see it there in the long grass, doing its thing. Now let's do SWOT analysis really quickly. This board's strengths. So the strengths are 100%, its deck and its suspension. That CNC milled aerospace grade aluminium, as the website says, is super strong. There's no play, there's no flex, and you have confidence that it's not going to snap on you, which is fantastic. The deck itself is really comfortable, really nice to use. I like the way it sits just below the top of those suspension arms. Gets you nice and low to the ground. Another strength is that 12S4P battery. I've done 9.5 kilometers, where is it? 9.5 kilometers today, and I'm still showing a full battery, which is pretty insane considering over 60% of it has been on dirt and grass today. So the range test on this is going to be quite insane. Comment down below if you want me to do the range test on a mixture of dirt and grass, or you want me to go for the best result and do it on tarmac like I would do at Sydney Olympic Park. Now let's move on to W, weaknesses. There's not really any weaknesses on the board. There's a couple of opportunities which I'll talk about in just a second. Weaknesses as it stands, no, there's no weaknesses on this board. I was so surprised how well it, sorry, there's a few flies. I was so surprised how well it went on the gravel, the sand, the grass, the wet grass, and the pavement. God, it carves so well. I would almost say this carves better than the ET, which is insane. Right, now let's talk about the opportunities. There are a couple on this board, but they're not deal breakers, especially for the price of being under 1,500 bucks. The first opportunity is the ESC. Now this is running the same ESC as the ET board with range. I think a massive opportunity on this would be to offer the power ESC. A couple of times on really steep hills, it was just lacking a little bit of guts to get up and go. The second opportunity I'd love to see with this board is the ability to choose your springs at checkout. So I know there's blue, green, and red. I think another opportunity would be to say, right, you know, here is the weight class we recommend. Maybe speak to the community, and when you order the board, order it with the correct springs. At the moment, there's no option. It comes with red, and I know I can go and purchase blue or green to make it a bit stiffer. So they're the only two massive opportunities on this board. Everything else I absolutely love about it. The last one is threats. No threats at all. No disconnects, didn't fall off, no ghost accelerations. At no time did anything feel loose. And that's it, guys. That's it for the first ride and first impressions of the ECOMOBL M20. As I said, it is on sale right now, so check out the website. I'll put a link below. It's not an affiliate link or anything like that. I just think that if you want to get a cheap board, this is, you know, you've got a lot of gravel and grass around you. You can't go too far wrong with this. But just be mindful, if you're a heavy guy like me and you've got steep hills, you might want to pay a little bit extra or reach out to ECOMOBL and see if you can get the power S put in it from the ET. And also just look at the spring option. All right, guys, that brings us to the end. Thank you so much for watching. If you've liked this content, please give it a massive thumbs up. If you haven't already subscribed, please consider subscribing. It costs you nothing, but means a lot to the channel. Skate safe, wear a helmet, and we'll see you on the next video.